Hey, bye, welcome back to Spoiler Territory. We're going to talk about parts 4 and 5 of the Flash Armageddon crossover. For part 4, I'm just going to talk about mostly the characters and not so much the plot because, in a way, because of the timeline, in this episode technically doesn't exist within the timeline for them. You know what I mean? But obviously, it's the episode, so I want to discuss it with you. So, I saw with Barry and Dawn and Iris mostly for right now. Dawn wants to make he made like the reverse flashpoint and he like made Barry's life miserable recently and all these things. So one thing that's weird is that he is Dawn is like I don't know, it's like the same type of stuff that he usually does, but he it's like he got a little bit smaller with that, but I didn't really feel like that he did much, you know what I mean? Like, not, it wasn't, I feel like he didn't go too extreme, you know. It didn't feel extreme, is what I'm saying, but he did do, he did, cross some boundaries there, you know, of killing Joe, you know, so that's something that is really interesting with that, is that he's, you know, it kind of feels like the same stuff he would usually do, and it reminds me of that thing that he said, to Barry in Crisis on Earth X. I'll be wondering what face I'll be wearing next time I meet you, Flash. Then it was like his face, technically, but not really, you know what I mean? It's like, in a way, it's his life, his face. It's what he is like, um, basically what it means here. So, it's interesting that they made Blackberry like a villain, or he says, and all the characters, like, you know, how angry of him that he killed Ray, Sarah, Nate Nate's from Legends of Tomorrow, if you know who that is, and Cisco. So that's really weird. I don't know how they kill Sarah so many times. My goodness. And Cisco too. Like he was in August and he has like a lot of advanced equipment and technology. I don't know how that would have been interesting seeing like Barry kill Cisco. You know what I mean? But yeah, I don't believe the 7 days were bad. You know, but yeah, but yeah, how many times did I get rid of Sarah? Anyways, um, so we did we did see Ryan Troy back actually, Alex Danvers and um Ryan Wilder. Ryan Wilder, she was like introduced with that we see her interact with the other with characters for the very first time within this crossover, and we see they'll mention that Kate came out. They'll because technically speaking, this in the future, so probably Team Flash probably heard about Kate Kane's death. If that's such a bad woman, that she's bad, but not really. They wrote her off the story. They wrote her character off the show if you watched that. But anyways, you see that if you watch Bad Woman recently, you know that the stuff that she's going with. And we get introduced to her mom, and then this scene with Mary, that was like who's technically Alice's stepsister in a way. If you watch that show, you know what I'm talking about. Anyways, um, so in the show, Batwoman, Mary's like kind of, she's in a way a sort of poison ivy, you know what I mean? But whatever. But anyways, she said that's Ryan cure, you know. So she goes to in the show. She goes to her mom, which is in with someone she should with someone who's against Ryan because I don't know, like mother daughter like issues and all that stuff in the show. But anyways, and they're both like CEO companies and everything. So then the brother, Ryan brother, has a brother, so she she was forced to resign to give the company to her brother, so she has no access to be CEO. So that's it, not much of that. So basically, what I meant to say is that Ryan is trying to like she resigned her company so she can get like the antidote for Mary because Marcus has like the antidote, and I feel like in the show the antidote doesn't really. I feel like the antidote won't do much, so I'm basically saying that in a way she needed like she needed like more help, so she went towards her mom, who's someone who's like against helping her and her friends. So basically, my thought was that it would been better if she heard of Star Labs, she like thoughts to Team Flash with Star Labs, like by way contact them in the show. Bad woman that she don't know, they never mention Star Labs, but it'd be nice to like at least if they did mention Star Labs, maybe like they drove in this episode crossover. They drove like talked about like a flashback conversation, not flashback conversation, but basically like a conversation where maybe Iris and Ryan talked about the fact that and they talked about the 0 days, which is like basically this basically right now in 2021, because in 2031 is where the crossover is happening. So basically what I'm saying is that the drove like at least mention the fact that Team Flash maybe um did give antidote a try, you know what I mean? This is basically what I'm saying. So they don't like in this crossover they don't explain like her life or anything like that. And although they do mention that she's married with Sophie, who is like now character in Batwoman. And then so anyways, what I'm trying to say is that um she basically Ryan Wilder needs a cure for Mary, like so she to be back to normal. I don't know, like it would make sense for them to like show us and to me I feel like it would be better if they at least mention and like to like one of the characters maybe Caitlin or Ledra, or Iris talking to um Ryan Wilder about did you like having like a conversation about did you forget then or do you mean like cure for Mary or something like that? I mean showing that like in a way they fixed the problem, you know what I mean? But that's what I'm saying. And then here's the funny thing. And this is funny for me, but I don't know. So okay, so this is Iris's right, during Iris's wedding, right? And Dawn's wedding, and so anyways, Ryan later in the episode says that Iris was her bridesmaid, you know what I mean, but not Mary, and like Mary like felt like Mary said feels that she was close with Ryan Wilder. In reality, she wasn't, you know what I mean. She was mostly like against Ryan's friendship, you know what I mean. So in a way, it's funny because it makes sense that Ryan Wilder would go towards somebody like Iris to be her bridesmaid instead of Mary. So that's funny, but it's just the friendship was like it's a little so rocky. But anyways, it's really nice seeing Ryan Wilder back involved with the other Arrowverse characters, even though they're in the future, and the thing is with the other characters in the Arrowverse, damn, I think mostly Chester and the Let Girl are like the only characters that, and also maybe Iris, they look kind of a little bit old. They they can pass like looking a little older, you know what I mean? But the other characters they like look the same, and so that's a little bit weird with that. And the thing is, they're in like Iris and Dawn's wedding, you know what I mean? So what's interesting is the fact that like Alex Danvers didn't bring Kelly, and nor did Ryan Wilder bring Sophie, you know what I mean? At a big event like that, so I don't know, maybe I don't know why the short term like pour over the money to two extra actors in the show, but whatever. It was nice seeing Alex Danvers back. Like in a way, she was there for she had reason to be there. She was and to be in the wedding, so I'm kind I'm kind of glad they didn't mention that Supergirl being off world. That kind of like was bothering me. But just we don't know that the ending of Supergirl, she's like has a secret daddy on his things, and I don't know like much of other things like that. But it was nice seeing as bad. But it's so weird that that moment when Barry showed up, like the reverse Flash Barry, you know what I mean? Like all the other characters like basically said suit up, and Ryan had the Batwoman suit ready. Iris had like a blaster out of nowhere, and then Dan probably his probably makes sense. He probably had like a suit, his suit in him or something. I don't know. And then we have like then Alice Danvers suit, and so it's weird that their suits they just suit up out of nowhere. You know what I mean? But that's weird that they did that. You know, and they're trying like So basically, fast forward in the episode, they mostly the Despero basically kills four the main characters off screen and is trying to seal and then Barry fits the timeline and all these things and it works really well for them, you know what I mean? But also Cecile in the future she has this masked thing, right? Oh no, was that part 5? I think that's the future, you know what I mean? Yeah, this is part 4 where she has the mask thing, but yeah, that's weird. One thing I want to bring up is that I can't make a mistake in this podcast where I mentioned in this Dawn and Iris's wedding is actually a wedding rehearsal, but yeah, so it kind of makes sense for Kelly and Sophie not to be there. Maybe to be there a little bit later in the actual wedding day is what I feel like it will make sense for that to happen. So over just it happens, sometimes where there are people who show up who don't show up at the actual wedding rehearsals, but the actual wedding day. So maybe they were invited, but probably wouldn't in this episode because they weren't at the actual wedding. Makes sense. And for everything that we know about Ryan Wilder here, that's stuff that she's married with Sophie and all these things, it's kind of like a red card because the show doesn't really focus on continuity, and so basically, technically speaking, like none of this the stuff with like maybe the possibility of Ryan Wilder being friends with Iris probably won't happen. It's just an example, but let's just say it probably won't happen because maybe they when probably the show they probably won't introduce Ryan and Iris together in the same world. Basically they won't let have a chance to interact. You know what I mean? Just who knows what's up with that. Maybe, for example, what if in the Bad Woman show they kill off Ryan Wilder? It's just an example. It's not gonna happen. But if they do, it's that all this stuff technically won't happen. You know what I mean? So I just want to put it out there. Just that the Bad Woman show doesn't focus on continuity and everything here. This episode, technically speaking, doesn't really exist within the timeline. So it within like a bit like what if type thing. You know what I mean? Before I talked about part 5, I want to talk about Damien Darhk. He was in this episode. If you remember him, he was at the Legion of Doom, so he has this friendship with the Reverse Flash in a way, even though it wasn't really Dawn, like Matt Lester's Dawn, you know what I mean? If you know, remember that moment? Yeah, so basically he knows Reverse Flash and Reverse Flash knows Damien Darhk and all these things, and Damien's Darhk, he's there but not Noah's basically killed off. Like she's technically dead, so it was interesting seeing his interaction with Barry was actually quite fun actually. He was the only character that really felt like a villain there besides Dawn, the real Dawn, but in a way he was that he has good reasons to be there, so I actually kinda liked it. I feel like he maybe liked part 4 a bit more. But yeah, I feel like that was a good way to talk about that. He puts up the baby's the paragon of love, and if it works, it works, you know what I mean? And in a way, he very connects with Iris in any universe, apparently, any timeline, apparently. So that's something to really think about. The worlds that ending all these things, and then the thing is, you guys remember in part 1 where Barry and Kenan were talking about maybe Taylor wanted to start dating again. They didn't really mention her status in this episode, this part 4. But if they didn't want to, they don't need to. But just I don't know. Where do I stand today? You think they should have at least mentioned if she was still single or seeing anyone? I mean, let me know your thoughts because at the end, I don't know how I feel about that. I feel like it's okay to then mention, Kenan's relationship, you know what I mean? But yeah. And speaking of relationships, we see that Chester and that girl, they starting to fall for each other in a way, so I really love that. It was nice seeing them as profess to love to each other. So Ryan Choi and Chester, they're friends, so they're the best friends in this timeline, so they're like, it kind of makes sense that maybe if it makes sense if, for example, if Ryan Troy comes into the Flash show a little bit later, you know what I mean? Like if he's the main character who interacts with Team Flash, it would make sense for them to be, friends like that. But here that is at the future, so like it kind of just pass, you know what I mean? Because in a way it makes sense. So he says he knows Chester and that he deserves love and all these things, but like Ryan Troy kind of like was annoying in this episode. I don't know, like just he doesn't care about anything. So that was really weird that he was like that. But yeah, it is what it is with that. Yeah, and then we had Frost with Shubling, and then they were like fighting Damien Darhk, and they mentioned Constantine, and so Constantine's still alive in this timeline. Apparently, you guys watch Legends, you know that what's up with that, but he's not there anymore. But yeah, overall, the part 4 was something. Alright, let me know what you guys think about part 4 in the comments below. Let's talk about part 5 now, where Barry talks finally gets to call Joe because he's alive now. In a way, the timeline's reset, so now he's starting. He's interacting with Iris again, and they're all used to him. And then Dawn said in CCPD causing mayhem, and then Mia Queen shows up out of nowhere. And keep in mind, she's from the future. You know what I mean? 2040 ish. You know what I mean? So I was thinking, why didn't they switch, Ryan and Wilder and Mia Queen, but it would have been weird because Mia would have been like a little girl in 2021, so yeah, kind of like doesn't make sense for them not to do that. But yeah, so I don't know, I just was thinking about that, but yeah, that would have made no sense. Alright, so the thing with Don is that he's basically being erased from timeline and he needs Barry's help. And he wants the world to see that, so that's why he needs like Barry's attention, and it took a while, you know what I mean? What I just say about Barry running Mod 20, and he ran the same, the way he always runs, he was the same, and he didn't feel like he was running really fast, you know what I mean? So I don't know what you guys think about the way Barry ran Mod 20, that he had like do that within 2 minutes, you know what I mean? So I don't know how I feel about that, but and then he in Elseworlds he went on like really fast too. He went pretty fast in Globe with Supergirl, you know what I mean? So I don't know why they tried made him look faster, but it feels like they made him look like the same. He was like running the same speed he always does, you know what I mean? So I don't know. And also keep in mind that he I was gonna say something about his speed being lost, but I don't think that counts, right? Just Jefferson took Barry's speed, but that was him as the Flash, not Reverse Flash. You know what I mean? But yeah. So never mind about that. Yeah. Okay. So back to part 5. We see that because of the ending of Arrow, we see that her brother was kidnapped and everything. So she found like a portal into 2021, which that doesn't make sense. I don't like, in a way, I don't buy it. I don't know. She just so happens to be having a portal in a time where Barry is having a big crisis type of thing. So it's kind of weird. It's like that. Anyways, they want Caitlin and Dawn. They have conversation about the fact that for the past 8 years she's started to really hate Dawn, and she's always hated Dawn, and she doesn't mind letting him die, and then Iris and Barry agree, and then the newbies is what Chester and Electro told themselves is that they have like that much interaction with him, so in a way, and also Cecile is also having showing her opinions too, and she agrees with Chester and Electro, so it's like 50-50 there with Barry, Iris, and Caitlin wanting to let Dawn die, and then Joe has a firm talk with Barry and Iris about always having a choice, he stands and he has to protect everyone because Joe knows that Barry already found a way to save Thawne, you know what I mean? And they trapped him, of course, then in Star Labs, anyways. So like he figured out that he could take his speed away, similar to like how Jefferson Pierce took Barry's speed away, and then Barry talks to Despero about the Dawn and timeline and Armageddon and everything, and the fact that Barry saved the world with causing Armageddon type of thing. So like he's like the dude like Despero is basically making excuses to wanting to like kill Barry in any way possible, and Barry figures out that he's basically lying about the story that he said about his home world. So then he's obviously the bad guy there, so he wants to get rid of Flash and all these things, and then they try to figure out a way to stop him. And Chester makes boots, so then the golden boots that they promoted after DC fandom, So like, and then that Barry runs into Barry like fights with Despero, and I saw the CGI being a little fake, honestly, but yeah, just during a rush. But overall, it was nice seeing Barry like not use his inner trauma and just fight him. You know what I mean? So I kind of saw him like do that plastic that he did with that other lady in like part 2 or 3, I think it was. Like when he was like blasting him his powers, but yeah, he said find him, and he like destroyed Despero, and basically like everything was. Then he took on Dawn's speed and all these things, and everything went well, and then so overall, and then the thing was doing well, and then I've almost forgot to bring up the fact that Damien Darhk was also there, and he has no idea why, and then he talks to Joe later in the episode, and there's some time rock, and then Noah shows up instead of instead of Damien Darhk and everything. So it's kind of weird the fact that, keep in mind that Ray Palmer was also in Central City recently, so I don't know, I didn't mention Ray or anything like that. Or if Noah was married at all with Ray, you know what I mean? I'm pretty sure she was, but it feels like, I don't know, I didn't explain that really well. If Noah was back, you know what I mean? I do feel like Noah and Ray are still married, but yeah, it just feels like they didn't explain much at all. And then we see that with Mia Queen, she was attacking Team Flash, but Despero was controlling her mind and everything, and I was told her like listen inside of yourself and everything. And yeah, so in a way, it's kind of pointless having Mia in the episode, but overall, it was nice seeing her again. But unless if she's just there for that one episode and not the rest, then we need her to find William. You know what I mean? So I want to see Team Flash help Mia find William. So that's something that's really important. And yeah, it was interesting seeing Mia interact with Damien Darhk because of what he did to Earthborn Laurel. So, but yeah, it reminds me of how much Sarah wanted to do that to her Damien Darhk in Legend. So yeah, try if you watch Legends tomorrow, you see that Damien has changed, and he has he's better character he's a nicer character, and he basically in a way wants Sarah to forgive him, for what he did to Laurel, but which he knows that the forgiveness will never be forgiven, you know what I mean? So yeah, overall, I feel like Damien Darhk was a cool dude in this crossover in parts 4 and 5. So yeah, overall nice event. It does make sense why it was the Flash crossover type thing where they didn't have they didn't cross over with the other shows. Instead, they had the other way around, where the characters cross over into the show. So I kind of feel like they made the right move there, because it was mainly focused on Flash. overall, this entire event then was actually fun to see. Very interact with, Black Lightning. Then it's unsure if he's the put super. I don't know. They left him hanging there, and Hino didn't interact with him or anything like that. Like, I don't know, that was weird. And also the fact that um, they had Dawn and Barry just destroy air, and now Dawn doesn't have his speed, so that's to be interesting seeing all this happen. And then in the ending, we see like a photo of Joe West with Eddie, and then next to him, and then Barry, Bart and Nora, they're in the background. No, I'm Nora. Who's that? Barry? I was his daughter, not Nora Dot, but that, yeah, just seeing them in the background of a photo. The photo is, yeah, so it's something, So overall, it's to be interesting to see what Noah and Bart are be doing. How did they be involved this season? So the show comes back in March. So yeah, who knows if what's up with that? I don't know if I'm gonna review those episodes. I have to see what I was I have to do that month. But anyways, thank you so much for listening. If you're on Anchor or watching this video, don't forget to leave a like and also subscribe if you're new. I post new episodes every once in a while when there's like a big DC type of event that happens. If there's a movie that comes out, I've seen the trailer for the Peacemaker. I feel like that show's gonna be fun to watch, and I'll definitely will talk about here. And then the Batman movies that come out eventually, so that's gonna be fun to talk about that when it comes out. And also, I saw the new trailer for Superman Lewis season 2, so that's gonna be a lot of fun to talk about. I just feel like that show is really doing so well. They're making Superman really like Superman's over there, so yeah, this will be fun. A lot of fun DC comic stuff to talk about in the podcast side. And, if you guys are new, you guys know that I talked about seasonal, so when the season is over, I talked about the whole season, and I heard about that new show, Naomi. I don't know if it's part of Arrowverse or is it the same universe as Stargirl or Superman Lewis. I don't know. I'll give it a watch if I liked it, but yeah, I when it comes out in January. But alright, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you all soon. Have a wonderful day. Peace.